It was a beautiful morning, crisp skies painted in soft blues, and Mr. Kenny walked through the airport with the kind of smile only a man heading home to see his family could wear. He'd ironed his shirt perfectly, shoes polished enough to catch the terminal lights, and even treated himself to a warm coffee before boarding. Nothing could ruin his mood, at least that's what he thought. When boarding was called, he found his seat, tucked his bag neatly under, and settled in with a sigh of relief. Then came the storm. His seatmate, a woman with pearl earrings and a nose sharper than a hawk's beak, slid into the row. She took one look at him, immediately clutched her nostrils as if poison gas was leaking from his pores, and turned away with an exaggerated sniff. Kenny raised an eyebrow, confused. He hadn't even opened his snacks yet. She muttered loudly enough for half the row to hear, "I swear they should have separate flights. Imagine paying good money only to sit next to this." The words stabbed, not because they were new, he'd heard nonsense before, but because her tone dripped with venom so casual it was almost rehearsed. Passengers shifted uncomfortably. Kenny leaned back, calm but tight-lipped, silently calculating whether it was worth responding. She continued, her voice now a full-blown performance. Their skin, their smell, everything about them screams low class. Heads began to turn. Phones quietly appeared, cameras sneaking into action. Kenny, still collected, thought, let her dig. The deeper she goes, the sweeter the fall. If you're enjoying how this fire is just beginning to burn, don't forget to like and subscribe because it's only getting hotter. The woman adjusted her pearl earrings like she was polishing her pride. She wrinkled her nose again, flapping the airline's safety card in front of her face as if fanning away invisible smoke. Honestly, I don't know how people like that are allowed to buy tickets in first class, she spat, making sure her voice carried across the cabin. The irony? They were in economy, squashed like sardines. Passengers nearby chuckled quietly at her delusion. Kenny smirked, the type of smile that didn't need words. It said, "Lady, you're auditioning for the role of Fool of the Year, and you're nailing it." The flight attendant passed by, and the woman snapped her fingers like she was calling for a waiter at a cheap diner. "Excuse me, can I have a different seat? Away from this." She waved at Kenny as though he were a stray dog. The attendant froze, eyes darting between her and Kenny. Passengers leaned in, anticipating drama like it was live TV. Kenny didn't say a word, only raised his brow and sipped his water slowly, letting her antics pile up like dirty laundry. "Ma'am, the flight is full," the attendant said firmly. "You'll need to remain in your assigned seat." The woman scoffed so hard it almost shook the plane. "Figures. Stuck next to him. This is ridiculous. I'll be smelling this all flight." Someone from 2 rows behind called out, "The only smell here is your nonsense." Laughter rippled, phones tilted higher, and Kenny finally let out a soft chuckle, shaking his head. If you're enjoying watching this train wreck unfold, don't forget to like and subscribe. The woman snapped her head back toward the voice that mocked her, eyes blazing. "Mind your business," she barked, jabbing her manicured finger in the air like she was casting spells of entitlement. The cabin chuckled again. Kenny leaned back, crossing his arms with the calm of a man watching free entertainment. He finally spoke, his voice low but sharp enough to cut. "You keep talking about smells. Maybe the problem is the stench of ignorance." The crowd oohed like kids on a playground. One passenger whispered loudly, "He cooked her." Phones kept recording, the glowing screens turning her humiliation into a broadcast. Her face flushed crimson, but she doubled down. "You people are always so disrespectful. No class, no manners, nothing." The venom dripped, heavy and bitter. Kenny shook his head, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Funny. I've been sitting here quietly, minding my own business. Meanwhile, you've turned into the in-flight entertainment system, channel Racism HD, volume stuck on maximum." The entire section burst into laughter. The flight attendant, clearly done, muttered, "Ma'am, please lower your voice." But she couldn't stop herself. "I'll sue this airline. I'll sue him. I'll sue everyone," she shouted, veins popping. Kenny raised his cup of water like a toast. "Cheers to lawsuits that never happen." Another explosion of laughter followed, a passenger clapping like they were at a comedy club. The humiliation was spreading faster than jet fuel flames, and the woman had no idea she was already the meme of the century. If you're loving how karma is boarding this flight, hit like and subscribe because the landing is going to be spectacular. By now, the plane was buzzing like a beehive, every passenger glued to the spectacle unraveling in row 14. The woman's arrogance was leaking faster than a broken faucet, her voice screeching so loud even the pilot probably heard. Kenny stayed cool, sipping water while she thrashed like a fish yanked out of its pond. "I demand this whole row to myself," she shouted, but her words were drowned out by laughter and camera clicks. Then came the twist of fate. A teenager 2 seats ahead suddenly stood up and yelled, "Hey everybody, check TikTok! She's already trending!" Within seconds, giggles turned to full-blown roars. The woman blinked rapidly, confused, fumbling for her phone. Too late. Her face, her words, every ugly syllable was already viral. The captions? Savage, "Pearls can't buy class," and "Karen at 30,000 feet." Kenny leaned in just enough for her to hear him clearly over the cackling crowd. "Congratulations, you're famous. Not for your pearls, not for your manners, but for being the punchline the world didn't know it needed." She froze, trembling, her eyes darting around at strangers mocking her. The humiliation clung to her skin, heavier than any perfume. When the plane landed, airport security was waiting, not for Kenny, but for her. Complaints had piled up midair. She was escorted out, head down, cameras still rolling, while Kenny strolled past gracefully, welcomed like a king by passengers patting his back. And that's how hatred in its loudest form collapsed into silence, proving again that dignity always survives turbulence while racism crashes headfirst. If you enjoyed this downfall, don't just like and subscribe, share it. Let the world remember how sweet revenge tastes at cruising altitude.